What if I told you that the agonizing, bone-deep ache in your joints doesn't start in your joints at all? For decades, you've been told a story about wear and tear. You've been handed prescriptions for non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs, shown images of thinning cartilage, and perhaps even told that surgery is your only eventual option. It's a story of inevitable decline. And as an internist who spent the first half of my career in America's top university hospitals, I can tell you, that story is dangerously incomplete. It's a narrative that manages symptoms while completely ignoring the fire that's burning down the entire house. Today, we're going to walk into that fire. We're going to find ground zero, the true origin point of your suffering, and it's located in a place you would never suspect. To understand this, you must first understand the miracle workers inside your body called chondrocytes. These are the master artisan cells responsible for one thing and one thing only: building and maintaining your precious cartilage. Think of them as the dedicated craftsmen who keep the cushions in your joints smooth, resilient, and shock-absorbent. But what happens when these craftsmen get sick? What happens when their workshop is thrown into chaos? Deep inside each of these cells is a complex, microscopic factory. And in that factory, there is a critical department, a master architect called the endoplasmic reticulum. Its job is one of exquisite precision. It folds proteins into their perfect functional shapes. Imagine it trying to fold a complex piece of origami in the dark. If the folds are wrong, the final shape is useless. In your body, if these proteins are misfolded, your cartilage isn't repaired correctly. It becomes brittle, weak, and inflamed. For years, medical science has focused on the end-stage result, the inflammation. But my research and the experience of seeing thousands of individuals just like you points to an earlier, more sinister event: a profound state of cellular chaos known as endoplasmic reticulum stress. This isn't just a symptom, it's the inciting incident. It's the moment the architect is overwhelmed, the blueprints are lost, and the entire construction of your joint tissue begins to fail, long before the first pang of pain ever registers. But what is causing this catastrophic stress? The answer is as bizarre as it is revolutionary, and it doesn't involve your joints at all. It involves your gut, your liver, and a powerful substance that modern medicine has almost completely ignored. That substance is bile. Now, stay with me. I know what you're thinking. Bile is that greenish fluid made by your liver, stored in your gallbladder, and used to digest fats. What on earth could it have to do with the cartilage in your knee or your hip? This is precisely where conventional medicine has failed us, by viewing the body as a collection of disconnected parts rather than a deeply interconnected system. When researchers dug deep into the cellular machinery of those chondrocytes, those master cartilage builders, they found something that baffled them: receptors specifically designed to receive messages from bile salts. Why would your knee have a docking station for a digestive fluid? It's like finding a satellite dish in your basement. It makes no sense until you understand the bigger picture. There isn't just one type of bile. There is the primary bile your liver makes. But then there is a second, profoundly more powerful type called secondary bile. This isn't made by your organs. It's made by the trillions of beneficial microbes in your gut, your microbiome. These microbes take your primary bile and transform it, upgrading it from a simple fat digester into a potent, systemic, anti-inflammatory signaling molecule. These upgraded bile salts then enter your bloodstream and travel throughout your body, acting like a special forces team dispatched to put out fires. And one of their primary targets is the endoplasmic reticulum stress inside your joint cells. They are the chemical messengers that tell the overwhelmed architect to calm down, to reorganize, and to get back to the work of building healthy tissue. This is the gut-joint axis, an information superhighway running directly from your digestive system to your joints. I can't tell you how many times an individual has sat in my office bewildered by the crippling joint pain that began a year or two after their gallbladder was removed or after a devastating round of antibiotics. Their doctors told them the events were unrelated. They were wrong. By removing the gallbladder or wiping out their gut flora, they had dismantled the very factory that produced their body's most powerful, natural joint protection. They had cut off the supply line for the only thing that could calm the storm inside their cells. But what if your body's ability to produce these special messengers is compromised? Is there a way to supply this protective signal directly? The answer is yes, and it comes from a specific purified bile salt that modern science is only now beginning to recognize as one of the most powerful tools against cellular stress. This remarkable compound is called tauror-sodioxycholic acid, or TUDCA, and it is, without exaggeration, one of the most important molecules for cellular health that remains almost entirely outside of mainstream medical conversations. Historically, this potent bile salt was derived from bear bile, where it's found in high concentrations, but thankfully today we can create it synthetically with perfect purity. So, what makes TUDCA so special? While your body's own secondary bile salts send a general signal to reduce inflammation, TUDCA acts with the precision of a master locksmith. It is uniquely shaped to directly engage with the stressed endoplasmic reticulum, the chaotic cellular factory we identified as ground zero. Think of it this way. If endoplasmic reticulum stress is an overwhelmed factory manager buried under a mountain of disorganized paperwork, unable to approve any new construction, then TUDCA is the master efficiency expert who walks in. It doesn't just shout, "Work harder," from the doorway. It goes directly to the manager's desk, helps clear the clutter, organizes the blueprints, and restores the functional workflow. This is not just masking pain. This is intervening at the molecular level to fix the broken machinery that is supposed to be repairing your cartilage. By alleviating this core stress, TUDCA allows your chondrocytes to once again fold proteins correctly, build healthy tissue, and perform their vital repair functions. It fundamentally shuts down the cascade of inflammatory signals at its source rather than trying to mop up the damage downstream. This is a paradigm shift in how we must approach joint health. The connection is undeniable. A healthy microbiome produces the bile salts that protect your joints. When that system fails, chronic smoldering inflammation is the inevitable result. TUDCA provides a direct lifeline, a way to bypass a damaged gut and deliver the precise signal your cellular machinery is crying out for. But calming the storm inside the cell is only half the battle. Because at the very same time this chaos is unfolding, another silent, insidious process is often taking place, one that turns your flexible joint tissues into something rigid, brittle, and stone-like. We must address this threat next. This destructive process is calcification. It is the rogue deposit of calcium into tissues where it has no business being. You see, calcium is a mineral of duality. In your bones and teeth, it provides strength and structure. It is essential for life. But when it escapes into your soft tissues, your artery walls, your organ tissues, and the delicate cartilage of your joints, it is a menace. It causes stiffening, inflammation, and pain. It leads to the formation of bone spurs, those sharp, painful growths that can make movement a torment. This is your body literally turning to stone, one microscopic deposit at a time. So, What governs this process? What keeps calcium in its rightful place? The answer is a profoundly misunderstood nutrient: vitamin K2. Now, most doctors only know of vitamin K1, which is involved in blood clotting. But vitamin K2 has a completely different and arguably more critical role. Think of vitamin K2 as the intelligent traffic cop of your body's calcium supply. Its job is to stand at the crossroads of your bloodstream and direct every molecule of calcium to where it belongs, into your bone matrix, and strictly prohibit it from entering the soft tissue neighborhoods of your joints and arteries. When you are deficient in vitamin K2, that traffic cop is off duty. Calcium traffic becomes a chaotic free-for-all, leading to pile-ups and blockages in all the wrong places, and here is a terrifying truth that reveals the deep flaws in our sick care system. Millions of older adults are placed on a blood-thinning medication called warfarin to prevent clots. Warfarin works by blocking vitamin K1. But what you are almost never told is that it also blocks vitamin K2. Let the brutal irony of that sink in. A medication prescribed to protect the heart has a direct side effect of promoting the calcification of the arteries around that very heart and the hardening of your joints. It is a medical paradox of the highest order. Taking control of your health means ensuring this vital traffic cop is always on the job. But fixing the structural problems of inflammation and calcification is one thing. What happens when the threat isn't just a breakdown of materials, but an all-out civil war where your own body's defense forces begin to attack you from within? This internal battle is the hallmark of autoimmune disease, and when it targets the joints, we call it rheumatoid arthritis. This is a fundamentally different beast than the wear and tear and calcification of osteoarthritis. Here, your own immune system, the very force designed to protect you from foreign invaders, has lost its way. It has become confused, misidentifying your own healthy joint tissue as a dangerous enemy and launching a relentless, destructive assault. This creates a state of perpetual, searing inflammation. The conventional approach is to carpet bomb the immune system with powerful suppressant drugs, which can leave you vulnerable. But what if we could re-educate it instead? What if we could send in a master peacekeeper to calm the troops and restore order? That peacekeeper is vitamin D. And I am not talking about the token amounts found in fortified milk or the paltry doses often recommended for general health. For an immune system that has gone rogue, those levels are tragically insufficient. The 400 or even 2,000 international units of vitamin D your doctor might recommend is like sending a single firefighter to a 10-alarm citywide inferno. It is a futile gesture. To create a true therapeutic effect and quell an autoimmune firestorm, the body requires saturation levels of vitamin D. We are talking about doses that may begin at 20,000 international units per day and potentially climb to 30,000 or even 40,000 international units under the careful supervision of a practitioner who understands this approach. Vitamin D, at these therapeutic levels, acts as a profound immune modulator. It doesn't weaken your defenses, it makes them smarter. It dials down the hyper-aggressive factions of your immune system and boosts the regulatory T cells, the very cells that act as the internal diplomats, preventing friendly fire. It is crucial, however, that when using high-dose vitamin D3, you must also include its vital cofactors, magnesium, zinc, and the vitamin K2 we just discussed, to ensure calcium is managed correctly. By restoring order to your immune system, you can finally address the root cause of autoimmune pain. We have now uncovered the primary internal drivers of joint destruction: cellular stress, rogue calcification, and immune system civil war. To achieve lasting freedom, we must now turn our attention to the outside world and stop consuming the very things that ignite these fires in the first place. Let us now name the arsonists. These are not merely unhealthy foods. They are active saboteurs that systematically dismantle your body's ability to heal. Eliminating them is not about deprivation. It is a declaration of sovereignty over your own health. First, the industrial additives. Vicious emulsifiers like polysorbate 80, found in creamy dressings and desserts, are designed to bind oil and water, but in your gut they act like detergents, scrubbing away your protective mucosal lining and devastating the very microbiome you rely on to produce those anti-inflammatory bile salts. Second, the protein imposters. Low-fat soy protein isolate and the hyperconcentrated casein A1 protein from modern grain-fed dairy, especially in the form of sodium caseinate, are cheap industrial fillers. They are profoundly inflammatory, disrupt liver function, and directly interfere with the production of healthy bile. Third, the fraudulent fats. The refined seed oils, soy, corn, canola, safflower, are perhaps the single greatest dietary destroyer of cellular health. Heated, bleached, and deodorized, these are not foods. They are unstable industrial lubricants that, once inside your body, oxidize rapidly, creating a firestorm of inflammation that directly assaults your cellular factories and mitochondrial engines. Fourth, the modern grains and sugars. Modern wheat is a triple threat, delivering inflammatory gluten, gut-damaging wheat germ agglutinin, and a dose of the herbicide glyphosate that poisons your microbiome. And then there is the ultimate metabolic poison, high-fructose corn syrup. This is not sugar, it's an industrial concoction that directly triggers endoplasmic reticulum stress in your liver, creating body-wide inflammation and insulin resistance. Finally, alcohol, especially grain-based beer, puts an immense toxic load on the liver, the master organ of detoxification and bile production. Your journey back to a life of vitality, free from the prison of joint pain, begins here. It begins by understanding that pain is not a random attack, but a logical consequence of a system in distress. By calming the cellular chaos with tools like TUDCA, directing calcium with vitamin K2, re-educating the immune system with therapeutic vitamin D, and, most importantly, refusing to consume the saboteurs that fuel the fire, you reclaim the power. You shift from being a passive manager of symptoms to becoming the master architect of your own healing. This is not just about silencing pain. It's about rebuilding your life from the cell up, l'chaim, to life.